right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of How Do I Do This Anyways? Today's topic of conversation. We're going to take your happy, wonderful, functional box with its clasp and with its hinge and with any other features that you've put on it, and we're going to document that thing via drawings. So we're going to go ahead and get started on this. You want to go ahead and start some new drawings, but before you do that, double check your folder. You need to make sure that you are in fact working in a project folder. If you are not working in a project folder, this is just going to dump your files randomly somewhere. So you make sure that you are in your project folder so that way it puts all of your files in the right spots. Okay, so do that. Now, let's get started. We're going to go File and we're going to click New. And it's going to pop up with this delightful menu here. Make sure that you are in metric because you were supposed to draft this whole thing in millimeters anyways. And you're going to come down here to ANSI millimeters drawing. Double click that. If it doesn't work for you, click it and then click create, but the double clicking should work. Now, what we're going to do first is change our sheet size. And also, we're going to get rid of that. And we're going to get rid of maybe we'll leave that for a minute. We're going to right click and we're going to edit that sheet. Okay. Now, what I want you to do here is I don't want you to select a standard one. I want you to select this custom size. And your custom size, the height of that should be 7 inches. And the width of that should be 9 inches. Okay. And now we're going to go ahead and click OK. And it should give you some crazy size like that. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to then go into drawing resources and click your title blocks and give it an ANSI. Okay, I realize that's taking up a decent amount of space, but you need it for your documentation. So our first sheet should have our most basic things on there. We're talking front, top, side view, sort of level stuff. I'm going to click my base view. And it's going to give me this option. I'm going to go ahead and say that this view has the most information. Now, what I want to do is I want to play with the scale of this thing in order to get something that actually looks like it's taking up a decent amount of space on there, but not too much space. You want to get a couple of different views, but you need it to be large enough to see some detail in there. So I'm going to go ahead, instead of being 1 to 2, I'm going to say 1 to 1.5. See how it's just slightly larger? Isn't that great? I think it's great. So what we're going to do is click OK, and that's going to drop our base view right there. Now, when I hover over this, you see how the little red dotted line illuminates around it? That's when I can click it and do stuff with it, such as drag it up to where I want it to be. I want it to kind of be centered in this space. Now I'm going to come over here, grab my projected tool, and I'm just going to lean out to the left so that way I get a front view where I'm showing off my nice, lovely clasp right there. And then I'm going to go over here to the back view where I'm showing off that hinge. Now, once I've clicked those two and I've dropped a single click on them, I'm going to right click now with the mouse and say create. And now I've just created those two views. Now, you should be able to dimension these accordingly because you should know how to dimension things already. Okay, dimension those. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to create some other views on this thing. But I'm out of paper. So I'm going to come over here to place views and I'm going to grab a new sheet. Now, I changed all these parameters in the sheets. It's going to go ahead and carry those over. Let me show you. See, our custom sheet is still there. So we're going to go ahead and place our first view, which I want to do a top view in this thing. Okay. And then I'm going to want to do a section view and show details of the clasp. So I'm going to click this like this. And I'm going to say, keep my scale of 1 to 1.5. Generally, you want to keep the same scale throughout your entire document. I'm going to drag this one to right here. And now I'm going to say I want to create a section view of my clasp. I know my clasp is in the middle here and you can't see it in this view, but the side view looking at it from this perspective over here is going to give you the best view of the clasp. So I'm going to grab my section view tool And I'm going to hover over where I get that green dot, and I'm going to drag it just above that. But you see how I've still got my line leading down there? I'm going to do a single click, zoom back out, come back down, and make sure you're in a straight line. And now I'm going to click again one time with my left click. Now I'm going to drag it off. You see how I've got that line there right now? I want to right click and say continue. Okay. And now you see how it's doing this crazy thing where I can point it and drag it to the other view? It doesn't want to let me drag it off the paper. Isn't that smart? So I'm going to go ahead and drag this thing over here, and it immediately gives me the section view I want. Okay. Now, this is not enough. I want to know, this is where I'm going to be detailing my clasp, because my clasp is showing me really well right here, whereas the hinge is not giving me that much information, and I'm going to get a better view of that later on. Okay. So I'm going to come over here to detail view, and I'm going to click in this to activate this view. And then it's asking me, hey, we're going to put a detail view here. Where do you want it? I want it to be right there. You want to click the center of where you want your detail view, and you want to drag out so that way you're seeing a decent amount of information about what's going on. Don't make it too tiny. Don't make it huge to envelop the whole thing. You want to, there's a nice Goldilocks zone of just right. So what you're going to do is just click it to set it, and then you're going to drag it on over here, and then drop your detail view. Okay, and so you see this kind of jagged line. That's Kitty, stop it. That's kind of going where it's breaking this out of it, and then it's giving this nice scaled view of that. Now, this 1.33 scale, I don't like it. I want to edit it. Let me look. Let's see. Let's make it look 2-ish. That's better. You want your detail views to be nice and large, okay? You want them to show detail that you couldn't otherwise see. So this would be where you would like dimension this. Cats. All right, so I'm going to dimension that. I'm looking there. Yeah, throw a couple dimensions showing you the details. All right, now let's go ahead and go back to your place views, and we're going to create another sheet. All right, again, it's bringing in all the information we need. Now I want to create a side view of the hinge so that way I can show you a detail of the gaps. So I'm going to grab my base view again 1 to 1.5, and I'm going to click okie dokie. And now I'm going to drag this thing over here. Then what I want to do is I want to, all right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this view. I want to see the hinge cut in half, okay? Basically along a plane that's intersecting with the line that I cut the whole box in half with. So I'm going to right click this view, and I'm going to edit that view, and it should pop up with the view cube here. I'm going to rotate it once like that because I want to place my section view this way, and I have to drag it over this way since that's the space I have for it. Okay, so I'm going to click it, and just like I did before, I'm going to click to activate this view when I have the little red dots around it. Then I want to make sure my midpoint is active. I don't want to be over here somewhere. I want to be right in the middle. And I'm going to click it, and I'm going to drag on down, and then I'm going to right click again to say continue after I've left clicked. And now, I don't like where it's dragging those arrows. I'm going to cancel that because you see how that arrow is right there on the side of the box? Very poor penmanship. So grab my section view tool again. Come up, activate the view. See the red or the green dot? Come on up so that way it's led up just a skosh from the box. Left click, come all the way down. When you're past the box, right click. Then, left click. And then right click and say continue. And then you drag it on over. Okay? All right, cool. Now I got my section view that's cutting the hinge long ways. Now what I want to do is I want to do another detail view. I want to do a detail view of this area right here. So I'm going to click to activate this view. And now I'm just going to simply click to bring this circle up, okay? And then I'm going to click again to set it. Now I'm going to zoom over and I'm going to drop that section view. That detail, cancel. I need to edit this view and I'm going to change that to 1.5 again or 2 or something along those lines. It's a little large, but I can move these other guys around. The point of the section view in the detail view is to give you details that you cannot easily see on the other drawings. So you need it to be larger. Okay. Now, we're going to dimension these on the next pages because we can dimension the pin and we can dimension the air gap and we can dimension the hinge body much easier in the next slide. So we're going to go ahead and do that. But this just gives us an overall view of what's going on there. So now, again, new sheet. And we're going to do a top view and then a cross section of the hinge. All right, cool. So my base is just going to be a top view like that. And then 1 to 1.5, okie dokie, click and drag on over here. Now I want to do a section view going through this area here. So I'm going to click up here with a left click, and then I'm going to left click again to get my section view to establish the line that's going to be the cut plane. I'm going to right click now to bring up my menu, and I'm going to left click on continue. And now it's giving me these options. Okay, so I can go left or I can go right. I'm going to go this way. Now, this is not a very good way to see this because it's so small. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and make my detail view here. I'm going to click my detail button. I'm going to activate this one by clicking on it when it has that red box around it. Left click. Now I'm going to go ahead and say I want this section detailed. So I just clicked in the center and I'm just dragging it out a little bit so that way I can see what's going on. I want to be able to see the hinge body and I want to see part of the wall. And now I'm just going to left click again in order to set that size. And now I'm going to bring it on over to here and I'm going to left click again in order to set it. Now again, it's giving me this 1.33 detail. I want to right click, edit the view, and I'm going to turn that into a 2 again. It'll automatically generate a scale according to what it thinks would be good. A detail view needs to be large. Now, here is going to be the most difficult of all of the dimensioning you're going to do is getting these dimensions correct. Okay. Well, these are horizontally aligned. So if you want to move one, you got to move the other. Okay. Glad we talked. Now, where is it? There we go. Under the Annotate tab, we're going to grab our Dimension tool, just like we have all the time. Now, the most difficult ones to dimension are going to be these circular ones in here. You need that little diameter symbol to pop up, and you also do not want a green dot. So clicking on it and then dragging it on out will actually give you what you want. Okie dokie. So you see that? It is a 1.3 millimeter diameter pin. That number should be familiar. And I'm also going to come over here. I don't want to click the green one because that gives me nothing. I can't get anything if you click the green one. However, you come over to where it isn't green, where you don't get the green dot. Click and drag. And you can place your dimension above that with a leader line pointing to the circle that you are dimensioning. And now we're going to do that last outer one. We're just going to click and drag and set it right there. Boom. Gorgeous. Now, we also want to make sure we get this dimension in here. So with our dimension tool still, I'm going to click this line and I'm going to click that line. Jace, it clicked the button or the midpoint. Don't get the dot, get the side. You see how it drops that 135 in there? That's a 135-degree angle right there. And now that whole thing is fully dimensioned. Isn't that nice? I think it's nice. Hey, guess what? That's how you make your 4 sheets. So if you have a more complex shaped box, then you might need more sheets in order to show off all of the different sides and all of the different features. I would like for you to fully dimension this thing, as in, I want to know internal dimensions and external dimensions. Show me that the cavity that you have created will actually hold the sheet or the stuff that's in the box, the earbuds. Okay. So now, very important, we're going to click Save. File, Save As. Now, it needs to go into your project folder, and it will automatically want to title it whatever your original file name was. So I used testbox3, the assembly from that, in order to create my drawing. It auto-populated it with testbox3. I changed it to B because I've already done this once to make sure I had all the wrinkles ironed out. This is as good as it gets. So, yeah, save. Oh, geez. Yes to all. Okay. Now we're going to let it think. Hopefully it doesn't think too long. Hopefully it doesn't think too long. It's thinking too long. There we go. All right. No errors. No errors? No errors. Now, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to print this thing. Okay. I love PDFs. You know why I love PDFs? Because you can open them on your phone. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and, I guess I glossed over that a little too much. File, export, export PDF. That is one way to do it. I'm going to click print. Okay. And in your printers, you should have Adobe PDF or you should have Microsoft Print to PDF. I'm going to click this Adobe because I love Adobe. And what we're going to do then is we're going to select all sheets. Okay. And we're going to also click the properties. Okay. Now we want to make sure that this is printing as a letter size, because that means it'll be on a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, which is what we want. Okay. So now I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to go ahead and click OK again. And it's going to think for a minute. And then it's going to ask me, hey, where do you want to stick this thing? And I'm going to tell you, you need to stick this thing in your project folder. So you see how it's populated with KC box front and back? Put it in the wrong folder. Find your folder in your flash drive. There we go. Test box 3B PDF. Boom. Pay attention to where it's saving it. Now it pops up with this. Okay. It should automatically pop up with that. Now is where you can go and you can print this thing. Okay. This will print. You can upload this to your Google Drive and you can print it very easily. And you see how it's in this little weird box and it doesn't seem to be taking up the full sheet. There's a reason for that. It's so that way when you print this out on the regular sheet of paper, you can cut around that square and then tape that right into your engineering notebook and you have dimension drawings. Isn't that nice? I think it's nice. Click print. Only, you should probably print a copier or something. So, yeah, I know. I'm not at home. I'm in school. So, hopefully this helped you out. Hopefully you understand all the different views, and hopefully if you have any questions, you'll let me know. Take care. Bye-bye.